Hello, good people. Once again, this is Mirori Wanyambura, and I am here to talk about my journey of banting. Last year, I decided to start a journey of taking care of my body because I was already in the fourth floor. And as an old saying goes, that if you don't take food like medicine, you'll take medicine like food. I decided that through the guidance of God, that I'd like to take care of this body that He gave to me. And as a sign of piety and faithfulness, I would like to take care of it by not indulging or even overindulging. May He help me. It's not easy. And so last year I decided during the Great Lent 2025 that I will stop taking lunch. But if you go to my social media, you will find that my body has not changed, especially the tummy area. And so my body adopted not having lunch, only to realize that I've been eating food that will not help me uh, take shape and have the transformation that I desire or my body deserves. And so I went to um, a nutritionist and I was given a list of things that I'm not supposed to eat, things that I'm supposed to eat partially, and things that I'm supposed to eat the whole time. And what I realized is that my theology is one that does not support and promote Western civilization that was brought by colonialists and missionaries. And true to what I have been arguing, that is the path towards moving away from God or relapsing from humanity, relapsing or backsliding from your relationship with the Creator and your personal relationship with nature. I found out that most of the foods that I was told not to take, and we usually love taking, and foods that are commonly becoming more and more available, that they used to be available to the who is who, but now they are more available to even the common person. These foods are foreign foods, and they are a disaster to most of us. This is in line with my quest of looking for the most pure way of living, the most pure way of taking care of our bodies without conventional medicines, without putting a lot of chemicals in our bodies. And it is also a quest that will probably answer the cause of cancer or even will answer the way of preventing yourself from getting into contact with cancerous cells that are triggered by chemicals that we eat and other edible, um, artificial, or man-made um, foodstuff and organisms that we find ourselves taking as part of our lifestyle. Now, quick to the list that I was told that this is a no-no. It is called a red list. And this red list includes a lot of things that we normally take. That includes everything that is made from flour. There are several flours that are mentioned here. One, all the grain flours like wheat. Uh, there is another wheat flour that is called barley. There is rie. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it properly. And then there is peas flour, which I didn't know about it, and rice flour. Uh, and then there are products of flour like breads. We have um, wheat, oats, um, of course, like I said, barley. There are also amaranth. I didn't know there is an amaranth bread, but there is another one that is called quinoa and teff, among very many. Um, there are other things that we take for breakfast, like cereals, uh, muesli. There is what I call granola, buckwheat, cakes, biscuits, confectionaries, and also corn, like popcorns, uh, polenta. There is maize, couscous, millet, pasta, noodles, rice, sorghum, spelt, and then thickeners. You know, the additives we put for the broth to be thickened. Traditionally, my grandmother used to add potatoes. And then there is gravy powders. You know, those powders that we add, and cubes and other uh, thickeners, um, like one that is called maizena. I don't know, I've never heard about that. But also beverages that I've been taking, like beer. It is a no-no. I don't take cider. Cider is also a no-no. I don't take soda. So soda is a no-no. I don't take carbonated water. That's a no-no. And then other drinks that we are told that they are healthy for especially people with diabetes. And then this depends on what kind of diabetes that one is suffering from. Includes zero drink or zero sugar, light sugar, or even diet drinks. All these are no-no. You know, sometimes when these products are being displayed on ads, they are presented as if they are a blissful produce that is going to bring happiness to you. And sometimes they even go as far as recommending these products for our health, and especially people who are suffering from chronic diseases. But it is a no-no. So there are other things that I was shocked, like for instance, some of the dairy products, like processed cheese. You're not supposed to take that processed cheese. Also, you're not supposed to take commercial spreads. These are margarines and stuff. You know, those commercial ones with additives and stuff. Keep off them. There is coffee creamers, commercial almond milk, condensed milk, fat-free milk. There is reduced fat cow milk, rice milk, soy milk, ice cream, and pudding. I didn't know pudding would fall into this category. But it is shocking, right? So I don't know. I don't know how this kind of transformation, because I'm looking at it as from a societal perspective. People who sell pudding, they are the localist people, and pudding has been touted as the most important kind of meal. There are people who just do pudding for a meal, but those are not banting, right? So it depends again. These are for people who are banting. And so a lot of customers who want to band are going to stop buying all these things to the detriment of the producers. Now, but I think there is a silver lining somewhere. Just walk with me. Something else that really struck me is the oil and fat that we take. We've been told that these salad oil are the best until in Kenya 2 years ago, these oils were adulterated and they were banned. But for some reason, the people who had imported the oil found their way through the system, and they accessed the oil while the court had announced that those oil were not fit for human consumption. They found their way back into the market through these rich people, including uh, one that is very famous in Dagoretti. And this goes to the other scandal of sugar with mercury. During the last regime, the same sugar with mercury that was burnt and the court ordered that the sugar should be destroyed, the sugar found itself into the market. That is when I stopped taking sugar. I had stopped taking sugar like 10 years ago, but I used to take once in a while, especially when I was making pancakes and stuff. I used sugar. So when this adulteration became something of a concern, I decided not to do sugar anymore. Another thing that I also stopped taking uh, was milk, processed milk. Okay, if this milk is not coming direct from the cow, I will not take milk that comes directly from the shelves. Okay, sometimes I do, once in a while, because I buy for people that I love and people who want. But I personally would really minimize the consumption of such milk. And all these fats that you're talking about, you know, we were told that sunflower oil is good. There is safflower oil again. I don't know that. There was the canola oil. There was the grape grapes oil. There is the cotton oil. There is the corn oil, soya oil. I didn't know there was chocolate oil and other commercial sauce. All right. I don't want to mention these products just to protect my reputation. I don't want to be sued. But there are other salad dressings and what we call marinades. Okay. There is also something that is called hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated uh, oil or fats for spreading, like margarine, right? Vegetable oil, okay? See the solid ones. And of course, vegetable fat. These things we were told are healthy and better than the fat that we used to consume like some few years or some few decades ago. And all of a sudden, people are shifted from fat to oil. But I want to be cautious again, the commercial thing. So, industrialists may partner with lawmakers in your country, and they are likely to come up with a policy that will drive traffic of consumers to a certain product by banning others. And this level of corruption is very tedious, very unfortunate, and very detrimental to the people whom we think uh, are supposed to be protected by law. But the people who are out there for profit and power are the destroyers of this world. But one thing is apparent: in as much as they do that, they probably fall in the same hole, because there is a saying that the people who dig your grave will also fall in the same grave. So for me, that is the weak link. And in as much as we have institutions or places of worship where God's presence is supposed to be felt and God's message is supposed to be received and the people's message is supposed to be conveyed to God, churches and mosques and temples have failed our people, have failed our societies, because you have the most ignorant clergy who do not know what is right. They think whatever is happening in this world is the manifestation of God's revelation. I was so sad when in 2018, I heard my professor, and he's a senior clergy, claiming that everything that is happening in this world is God's revelation. It can never be God's revelation when leaders are rigging to get into power. And because they're invoking the name of God, we think that they were sent by God. One thing is apparent: you may cheat people, but your fruits will always be the ones that you deserve to bear. And we are going to know you from your fruits, as we were advised by our Savior. And I'm doing all this to follow the path of the Savior in terms of dietary, the path of John the Baptist. And now, looking at some of the fruits again, we talked about um, pudding, and it was shocking to me. Some of the fruits that are banned for people who are banting, right? And veggies, including fruit juice. All kind of fruit juice are not good for people who are banting. Vegetable juice. And also fast foods. You know, some of these fast foods are taken to be leisure food, okay, or pleasure foods. They're expensive, and they are so much connected. Before, when I was growing up, fast foods, the best, were connected to South Africa. It was Tears and Wimpy. But no sooner had those um, outlets died, had KFC and others arrived in Nairobi in a big way. Expensive, but they're junk foods. And so, processed foods, sausages, ham, these kind of foods. And of course, now there is soya meat and so on and so forth. Keep off from them. In as much as they are called green tech driven foods that are supposed to help humanity desist from taking animals because it is archaic. It is very funny that the West is trying to bring all sorts of ideas from them to the rest of the world. And that has been the sin of this world. The sin of the missionaries and colonialists is that thinking that everything should come from them, including salvation. And so they continue to dig a hole and moving away from God. Even if you don't see God and you don't appreciate and acknowledge God, nature. Right now, the biggest advisory in this world is we need to go back to the pre-industrial temperature, which Africa still maintains. And so sometimes it is good to stop all this hullabaloo, all this frenzy and pandemonium, and look at where the solution is likely to come from. It is where life has always been innocent, where life has always been moderate, where life has always been natural. And so sometimes I listen to these things and I'm shuddering. So any food that has added sugar, such as glucose and dextrose, among others, keep off. I said soya meat, keep off soya meat. And of course, uh, there is one that we call Vienna sausages. Keep off Vienna sausages. Some of the sweeteners that we are told to keep off include aspartame, there are any product with saccharine, sucralose, splenda, cardiols, dried fruits, and fructose, including one name that is very difficult here. It is akesalfem, K. Saccharum also is something that we need to keep off. So sometimes we are apprehensive about our lifestyles. And that's why all these chronic diseases are called lifestyle diseases. And if you ain't going to change your lifestyle, you are in for a disaster. Never say that you are never warned. Now, foods that you're supposed to take in moderation, or sometimes include these foods. One, among fruits, we are going to get things like grain flour. Sorry, among the foods that we are supposed to take in moderation include fruits like apricot, black currant, coconut, cranberry, panspa, mandarin, guavas, uh, nectarines, oranges, loquats, pawpaw, peaches, pears, watermelons, lemons, dragon fruits, and marula fruits. Again, these are supposed to be taken in moderation. Veggies, we have beetroots, mixed dried veggies like corn, peas, and carrots, butternuts, sweet potatoes, thorn melon, and water chestnuts. Sweeteners like raw honey, again, not your everyday thing. Seeds and legumes like amaranth, peanuts, chickpeas, beans, soaked and cooked quinoa, oats, buckwheat, and cooked lentils, split and cooked peas, black eyed peas or black eyed beans that are cooked, white beans that are cooked, and white kidney beans that are cooked. Finally, fruits that we're supposed to take. This includes apple, not most of the times, but sometimes, bananas, blueberries, cherries, figs, clementines, grapes, kiwi fruits, mangoes, peas, pineapples, plums, palm fruits, durian fruits, loquats, tangerines, uh, passimium, or yes, passimum, ca- custard apples, quinces, jackfruits, and persimmon. Probably the same thing with what I had mentioned earlier. These are what you're supposed to take in moderation if you're banting, right? If you're not banting, you can take them. But the no-no list includes anybody who wants to save their future from taking medicine as food. Now, what are we supposed to take? Anything else that is natural and not in this list? How about what are we supposed to cook our food with? We're supposed to cook our food with uh, olive oil. But recently in Europe, like 5 years ago, there was a scandal of how they are making olive oil. And so the credibility of olive oil has really dropped. Now, what I can advise is that if you can access anything that is homemade, now this is where now countries with less job opportunities, less industrialized countries are supposed to be thinking this way. Planting all these things, all natural foods from across the world, and processing them within their cottage industries. We need to bring back the cottage industries of our forefathers and foremothers. Africa thrived and it still maintains balance with nature until now that now we're catching up with Western civilization and we are messing up our nature. We used to have home churches, home economies, home politics, all right, and home industries, which are cottage industries. If we can be able to concentrate on that, I wrote a paper in 2012 when I was doing my social work and community development. And this is what I was advocating for. And learning from our past. I hate it when people read a certain verse from Isaiah where they say that the book says that you don't have to think of your past or the old days. And people misinterpret that because Isaiah himself, reading from that verse itself, is thinking about the old days. Isaiah lived 700 years before Jesus. And if his claim is true as a prophet, that we are not supposed to think of his past, we are not even the past, we are not even supposed to think of him. Sometimes the way we contextualize our hermeneutics in our homilies is very interesting. And sometimes I'm not saying that I know everything, that I'm I'm right. I'm never right, I know. But sometimes you need to understand why these things were written and to whom they were written so that you can be safe. So people need to know how to read the Bible, and that's why the Bible is not a book for the lay people. If you're a pastor or a bishop or a reverend who is self-proclaimed and you have not acquired any skills on how to read the Bible, know you are one of the people who are destroying the Christian fellowship across the world. You are the cause of all problems, and you are a disgrace, and you are the people who are making this house of God be desecrated. And a whole generation you have lost, a whole generation you have led astray. Let millennials and all the Gen Zs, their blood and their souls are upon you, for you have dealt with corrupt money from politicians. You have sold this nation and other nations to by selling pulpits to politicians. And now this generation has lost hope in God and the only institution that manifests his glory and the kingdom of heaven. Now, things that we are supposed to take is any animal fat. This is what our grandparents used to take. They never used to take this processed oil. Anything processed is a disease. It has chemical. And nothing, let me tell you, nothing that is processed comes from natural fruits or products. They are done something that is called value addition. So what is this value addition? You take one fruit of an apple and you come up with a whole 20 liter of juice. You can't tell me you have just blended that one fruit and added water and had an apple juice. This industrialization and commercialization of natural products that were given by God, things that took very many years to grow, are now being expedited through science by the West for them to make a killing. They say that we use old seeds. They even try to bring a law to ban anybody with any natural seed should not sell or give to a neighbor. The fine was, I don't know what. Our majority leader, Kimani Shomo, is the one who came up with that bill. And that shows how corrupt our legislatures are. They would go a mile further to take corrupt money and corrupt dealings from the West. and kill their own people for their own selfish interests. If you want to be as rich as the people who looted this country before, the big names, political names that we know, and even industrial business people that we know, it is fine, okay? Because you're the people who make the law, and you're the people who know where to put lacunas for you to take advantage of. I'll tell you, your goose is being cooked, and the chicken will come home to roost very soon. That's why I get so angry after vying twice and facing the challenges of vying as a politician in the civil authority as an aspirant Nairobi City County member of County Assembly for Riruta twice. The challenges that I faced, one, with a small party in 2017, and secondly, with as an independent, and we went to court because we were twisted by IBC and big political parties. I realized that that field shapes people to be corrupt because whenever you go there, you think about becoming the next big politician who will also take advantage of their neighbors by trying to take what they have. Because this greed, this evil that enters people when they go to parliament and county assemblies is a massive greedy demon. I don't know. And in as much as they eat and hog anything that they find in their way, it is the way they behave in terms of acquiring and amassing wealth and resources. And so eating animal fat is very important. So wherever there is a butchery and they sell this animal fat, please, if it is possible, that is the best fat you can use. It does not uh, residue in our body. In fact, it complements our body by keep giving us a warmth. Not this cold artificial fat that accumulates in our bodies to give us bad shapes. These give us good shape, tight skin, very smooth, health, and warmth because it is nature to nature and it brings a lot of balance. And so, some of the protein we're supposed to take eggs and poultry milk, poultry meat, including game meat, uh, anything that is seafood, including fish and omena, and cured sausages. Okay, there are sausages that are cured, um, like the salami and the pape, pape, pepperoni, something like that. All offals, which is matumbos, uh, tuna, and all traditional foods. I love that part. All traditional foods, foods that from your nation or what was called by colonialists and missionaries tribe. Those were nations. Any food that was eaten in your nation is good food. Uh, there are there is cheese that is natural. You can take that. You can use ghee, uh, yeah, a milk cream, and of course, the only recommended processed uh, milk is yogurt or even fermented milk. Very important. And so, food like avocado, cold pressed sunflower oil, cold pressed, and then homemade or even cold pressed macadamia oil. Very important. Homemade olive oil, coconut oil, palm palm oil, coconut oil, and milk, and almond milk that are homemade. Very important. I'll be telling you by and by other products that are very important for us to be able to have the picture of a healthy nation. I am also aspiring not for political seat right now. I'm telling people not to vote. Kuakadi, but don't vote if the option of the leaders are the current crop of leaders who are making noise on their television and radio sets every day. Those there is none of them who is a good leader. They have always been into government. They have seen corruption of their seniors and they never talked. They have never condemned. They have seen all these things happening all this while until the Gen Zs came out to save their elder siblings and even their parents who have been suffering all this while, because the Gen Zs are the generation that is looking for opportunities online and they have no hope in these systems. This is the generation that will really will come with a stroke that will break the camel's back. And I'm telling you, if a president can have 1,000 votes, that is the day that I'll see the grace of God among Kenyans and say that Kenyans are truly, truly within the spiritual realm and the will of God. If an MP will be elected by 500 votes, a governor 500 votes, an MP around 200 votes, a senator 500 votes, a women rep 500 votes, and the members of county assembly 50 votes to 100 votes, I will know that Kenyans are truly wako kadi, and they mean that not voting is also vote of no confidence to these corrupt leaders and other aspiring good leaders who will end up being corrupt. So in as much as we are trying to help ourselves have a good body, laws are going to come and try and curtail that, because multinationals and colonialists and missionaries transformed the African society for us to be consumers. For you not to be a consumer and fall into the trap of consuming what is wrong and going to their hospitals to promote their medicines, and also going to schools where it promotes what comes from outside than what we as a country has as a resource. And I've seen people condemning CBC because CBC is going against the grain of colonialism and foreign hegemony. It is bringing back our sovereignty. These are prophets of doom. Don't listen to them. Please remain traditional. All these things that make you feel fancy and progressive, these are our traps. These are our way to quicksand. And this is how we are suffering. Poverty is an attitude of lacking what these fancy things are. Lacking them is what constitutes poverty. But if you can able to use any resource that is within your reach and you're able to convert it for, for your own good and the good of the environment around you, that will be serving God purposefully and being faithful. Other than trying and acquire these big things that are material things and end up suffering, people have stress and mental health, mental disorders for not knowing the truth. And these churches, these religious institutions are silent or misleading our people. I will reach there for now because I'm getting angry knowing that whenever I talk like this, people say that I'm stingy. I'm not stingy. I have looked for money in the most faithful and clean way. I don't have a lot of money, but I'm able to manage my life because I am an urbanite. I was brought up in urban area. My grandfather and my grandmother also came from an urban area. And so living an urban life has taught me to try and seek for the truth, whether all these Western civilization of urbanization are consistent with what was the purpose of humanity and the creation of this world in the first place. And I've seen all these are only directing us towards some other people achieving their economic goal by producing what we think is supposed or is needed by anybody living in the urban area for us to remain consumers. And we work so hard to be consumers. People work so hard for this, all these institutions, including churches, hospitals, governments, schools, that take away money from you. They take away your sweat, they take away your tears, they take away your blood, and finally, they they dry you up, and you die miserable. So whatever, probably you may say I'm a prophet of doom. Well and good. Your fruits that you're going to reap in your old age, if at all you're going to see your old age, will tell it all. So God bless you. May God keep you. May God continue to guide you and also promote our NASET television, the Orthodox TV Kenya. And remember to share, subscribe, and let us use all these things that have come from Western civilization to preach the true gospel, to preach what is African way of life, the authentic one. And in that, we will be able to find peace and unity and harmony, other than trying to be monkey see, monkey do, and monkey hear, monkey say. And this is what is our trap, and we'll be able to evade that. We'll be able to live a purposeful life which God intended, and we will find peace in Him and live according to His will, and we'll be loved by Him for our faithfulness, and we shall find a place in the kingdom of heaven as promised by the Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you so much. Peace.